Hello and welcome to the Get Real Football Experts podcast. I'm your host, Louis DB at DB Sports Talk. Go check me out there on Twitter. And today's another edition of the schedule rundowns, and we're wrapping up the AFC. So it's going to be wrapping up the schedule rundowns series. We'll be doing a playoff video after we wrap everything up. This is going into the AFC South. We just did the AFC North. I got the Indianapolis Colts and the Tennessee Titans, and Dave has the Houston Texans and the Jacksonville Jaguars. So today we're going to start off with the Indianapolis Colts, a team that last year, 2 years ago went 2-14, drafted Andrew Luck with the first overall pick, and then went to 11-5 and made the playoffs, only to lose to the Ravens in the first round, who eventually, as everyone knows, became Super Bowl champions. It was a pretty good year for them. Obviously, you can see what a quarterback does for a franchise who completely turned around in a year. And this year they look to improve. Hopefully Andrew Luck does not have a sophomore slump, which a lot of people are saying he could. The offense that he is in could set him up to be a turnover machine, as last year he kind of had a lot of turnovers, which was one of his downsides out of the many upsides that he had last season. So that's that, and let's kick it off into the 2013 NFL season with Week 1, where they're home against the Oakland Raiders. I think the Raiders are a team that are completely different. They have their defensive line is... they lost Desmond Bryant to the Seattle Seahawks. They lost Richard Seymour, who's not there anymore. They lost Rolando McClain. Their whole defense is different, other than Charles Woodson, which I've been saying probably the only times is the only bright spot for the Raiders. Their new quarterback in Matt Flynn, I don't know if he's even really going to be that much of an impact. Darren McFadden can never really stay healthy. I just think the Colts are a better team, and I think they're going to get off to a good Week 1 win over the Raiders, and I think the Colts, they got to establish a run game. I think if they can really attack that weak line with Ahmad Bradshaw and Vic Ballard, I think they'll be alright here and improve to 1-0. Going into Week 2, where they're home against the Miami Dolphins, a team that last year they did beat. Was a very close game. Ryan Tannehill, a fellow 2012 first-round draftee, he had a pretty good rookie year last year. Very overshined, obviously, with RG3, Luck, and Russell Wilson. But the Dolphins made a lot of new moves this year, getting in a lot of new pieces: Dustin Keller, Mike Wallace, Brandon Gibson. Then in the defense, you bring in Daniel Ellerbe. It's a very different team, but I think that the Colts are going to win this game and improve to 2-0. And I think it's going to come down to Luck versus Tannehill. And I think Luck is the better option, as long as he can avoid that mean pass rush of Deion Jordan and Cameron Wake, which is going to be really tough. I know that's the key matchup. If they can rely on the run game, get the ball out of Luck's hands quickly, get it to Reggie Wayne, which is going to be fun watching him versus Brent Grimes or Lamar Taylor. I think the Colts are going to end up winning this game, kind of like last year. I think both teams are better improved. And I think Bjorn Warner is going to be a big impact for the Colts this year, as they lost Dwight Freeney. Hopefully he'll replace him well and go after that Miami Dolphins offensive line that lost Jake Long. So I think they'll improve to 2-0 to start off the season. And they'll go to Week 3 at the San Francisco 49ers, which I'm going to have to give a loss. And I think Colin Kaepernick versus Luck is going to be fun to watch, but I think the 49ers have so many pieces in place right now. They're ready for a Super Bowl run. It's at San Francisco, which is always a tough place to play in. The last year at their stadium, I think the 49ers are going to win this, mainly because I think that the defense is just going to really torture Andrew Luck here. This is going to be a bad game for Luck, I think. I think they'll drop to 2-1 in the season. I think everybody agrees with me that the 49ers are a better team than the Colts. So, Week 4, they're away at the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, last year I got a lot of hate for having the Jaguars go 3-13. Rightfully so, they were 2-14. Many people are saying, no, they're a 9-7 team. 10-6, come on. This team, honestly, this year, I think is ready to win maybe 4 or 5 games. Maybe if we're lucky. I don't think they're even much improved. I think, if anything, they're the same as they are. Obviously, you're going to get back a healthy Maurice Jones-Drew, which is going to be the key matchup based on that's really their only weapon. Obviously, watch out for Cecil Shorts. No disrespecting him at all, but they don't really have a quarterback to get him the ball. So I think if they can stop Maurice Jones-Drew, I think they'll be all right here. Mose Foku, I think, is still a Colt, and I like him to be a difference maker for this Indianapolis Colts. They gotta get some better linebackers. I think that's their one of their weak spots. But I think that if they can somehow manage to, obviously, if Robert Mathis can help out that run stopping game, they'll be all right in this one. I think they'll improve to 3-1. It's the Jacksonville Jaguars. the Colts, you got to get those easy wins in order to compete with the Houston Texans. So week 5, they're home against the Seattle Seahawks. Russell Wilson versus Andrew Luck. There's a lot of fun matchups to watch some of these young quarterbacks go at it this year. Obviously, he faces Ryan Tannehill and Colin Kaepernick in the week 2 and 3. Now he's taking on Russell Wilson with a Seahawks team that really stacked up in the offseason this year. Cliff Averill, Percy Harvin was obviously the biggest one. I mean, you have Bruce Irvin suspended. He'll be coming back for his first game here. So, I mean, this team's ready for a Super Bowl run. Bobby Wagner at the middle linebacker position is going to look to take out Ahmad Bradshaw and Vic Ballard. It's just going to be fun to watch Russell Wilson versus Andrew Luck go at it here, and I think I'm going to give the advantage to Russell Wilson based on the better Seahawks team, and I think the Colts defense is really going to struggle stopping Marshawn Lynch and that pass attack. I think they're very balanced, the Seahawks are now, and I expect maybe a big game from Zach Miller. Like I said, the Colts don't have a lot of good linebackers to take out inside linebackers, that is, because I mean they have some good outside linebackers that are really going to struggle. I think the Colts will drop to 3-2, well, which is still a very good record for where they're at. They're week 6. They're away against the San Diego Chargers. So I mean the San Diego Chargers are a team that has many different spots this year. Obviously, the main spot was they fired head coach Norv Turner and got offensive coordinator of the Denver Broncos Mike McCoy in. Manti Te'o is the new middle linebacker. You have Dwight Freeney coming in. He returns against his former team, the Colts, and I think the Colts are going to get this one in. I think they're going to win this one and improve to 4-2. It's going to be very close. They're very similar teams in which they both have very good quarterbacks, a decent run game, a very good passing offense, I think, and then. But the defenses are both questionable. The Chargers lost Sean Phillips and replaced him with Dwight Freeney. The Colts lost Dwight Freeney and replaced him with Bjorn Warner. So I think that they're very in similar spots. But I think it's gonna be fun to watch Vontae Davis versus Denario Alexander. I think that's gonna be really fun to watch if they can take out him and somehow contain Antonio Gates if he's healthy. I think the Colts are going to win this game, though. It is in San Diego, but I think the Colts are matched up better against them. The defensive line of the Chargers is a bit weaker. They lost Melvin Ingram off a torn ACL. I think Vic Ballard could have a big game here. The Colts are going to have to rely on their run game a lot more if they want to keep Andrew Luck up and clean. And I think you need to balance the attack more. I think you know what the Colts are going to do if they're going to throw the football. And I think it's also going to be interesting to watch the Chargers, who lost Quentin Jammer, stop Reggie Wayne. So I think the Colts are going to win this one and improve to 4-2. So their last game before their bye week is against the Broncos. And Peyton Manning returns to Indianapolis. Probably one of the biggest games of the NFL season. This is going to be one of the most watched games. The house that he built, even though he didn't really play in that stadium all that much, but the city he built, he's coming back in Denver with a team that, I mean, many people are saying are going to win the Super Bowl. You have Eric Decker, Demaryius Thomas, and Wes Welker as receivers, Monty Ball in the backfield, Peyton Manning at the center. The defense, you got Von Miller, who, by the way, is at risk of being suspended on a 4-game suspension. And then you got, Champ Bailey for another year. You got Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie. A very stacked team. I don't think the Colts can beat them here. I think their defense just doesn't have enough to stop all those receivers and running backs. I think they'll drop to 4-3 heading into their Week 8 bye, which is a record that they will compete with the wild card still, obviously. So let's go into Week 9, where they're away against the Houston Texans. A very hostile environment to play, and I think they're going to lose this game and drop to 4-4. I think if you're going to have to, if you want to compete with the Texans, you'll split. And I think the away one, I think, is going to go to the Texans. I think Arian Foster is really going to have a big game. Andre Johnson and DeAndre Hopkins, let's look to see how they do here. I think that the Texans will win this game, and their defense, Brian Cushing's coming back to stop the run game and go after a guy that I want to see improve this year, and that's Coby Fleener from the Colts. I think I want to see him and Dwayne Allen really rise up and produce a lot, because Andrew Luck could really use another weapon. Obviously, T.Y. Hilton's a very good player, and Darius Hayward-Bray that they bought in from Oakland. But their tight ends need to establish a good helping receiving attack. So I think they're going to do that, and I don't think that they have enough to beat the Texans away right now, and I think they'll drop to 4-4 heading into Week 10, where they're home against the St. Louis Rams. Sam Bradford, the battle of two former number 1 overall picks. And I think that the Colts are going to win this one and improve to 5-4. Very similar teams. I think it's going to be. Let's see how Tavon Austin does against that decent secondary. Laron Landry's now the safety for the Colts. I think he's going to play a big role this season. I think that the Rams with Darrell Richardson and Isaiah Pead is kind of an easier matchup for the Colts than some of these other teams that they face really good running backs in Arian Foster, Marshawn Lynch, Ryan Matthews, Maurice Jones-Drew, Frank Gore, Darren McFadden. I mean, this is one of the breaks, I think, and I think if they can just take out that passing game, they'll be able to win this game. It's going to be low scoring. The Rams defense is very good, one of the best pass rushing attacks, very underrated, and Robert Quinn and Chris Long, your secondary, Janoris Jenkins, Cortland Finnegan. Whew, I just said all that defense almost in one breath. Most of the contributors, obviously, Alec Ogletree is their first-round pick that they got from Georgia. Is going to be a very key player to watch. But I think the Colts are going to get this one at 5-4. Reggie Wayne versus Cortland Finnegan is going to be fun to watch. It's always fun to watch the receivers against Cortland Finnegan. I think that the Rams will win this one, improve to. I mean, not the Rams. The Colts will win, improve to 5-4 heading into Week 11. They're away against the Tennessee Titans. Division rival. They got Chris Johnson in there, 2 new guards, and Chance Warmack, their 10th overall pick out of Alabama. Andy Levitra they got from the Bills. George Wilson they got from the Bills, the safety position. Aldron Verner is coming in as another year as a starting corner. It's going to be interesting to see how this team really gels, and I think Jake Locker coming into his 3rd year is really do or die for him this season before they move on to Ryan Fitzpatrick. Gee, I feel like this Tennessee Titans team is the 2011 and 12 Buffalo Bills. What's up with all these former Bills coming in? They got Sean Green as well, so their run tech is very good. But I think the Colts are going to win this one and improve to 6-4. I think that the Titans secondary is very weak, and people might disagree with me, but I think Reggie Wayne's going to have a big game here. Andrew Luck's going to have to attack that deep end of the field. And I think they'll win this game. I think they should definitely sweep their division, except for the Texans, and I'd improve to 6-4 heading into Week 12. Away against the Arizona Cardinals, return of Bruce Arians, the former offensive coordinator of the Colts, also came in as head coach when Chuck Pagano was curing that cancer he had, which was never good to have. Obviously, love that he returned healthy. So he's coming back as the head coach of the Cardinals. They brought in Carson Palmer as their starting quarterback. Probably one of the most underrated defenses in the league. You have Darnell Dockett and Calais Campbell on the line. Darrell Washington is one of the most underrated linebackers in the league. Patrick Peterson is one of the best corners. I mean, you lost Adrian Wilson, the safety, which I think is a big loss. Tyrann Mathieu it's going to be interesting to see how he does. Reggie Wayne versus Patrick Peterson is going to be a lot of fun to watch, but also Larry Fitzgerald versus Vontae Davis. I love watching the corner versus receivers battles when they're very good players. I think that's going to be one of the keys here. And, Luck versus Carson Palmer, 2 former number 1 overall picks. I'm going to give the advantage to the Cardinals. I think the Colts will lose and drop to 6-5 on the season. So they'll move into Week 13. The Colts will lose to 6-5. They'll go to Week 13 where they're home against the Tennessee Titans. They play each other twice in 3 weeks. I think they're going to win this game again. Improve to 7-5. It's the home stretch. You got to rack up some wins against teams that you're better than. Jake Locker will hopefully stay healthy here. He might be starting at this time. But, Andrew Luck is going to have to just hold down the turnovers. Don't let this Titans defense, which you know that you can beat, come back at you with Will Witherspoon, some pretty good guys on the defense. The Titans are one of the weaker defenses in the NFL, but they still have some good contributors, in my opinion. So let's go to they'll improve to 7-5. I think here against Week 14 against the Cincinnati Bengals, they'll lose. These 2 teams are going to compete either if the Bengals don't win their division, they'll compete for that last 2 spots. Maybe these 2 teams do get the 5-6, but maybe there's only room for one of them. I think the Bengals will win this. The Colts will drop to 7-6. AJ Green, that's going to be hard to stop, obviously. But then I love the new run attack of the Bengals and Ben Jarvis, Green Ellis, and Giovanni Bernard. Andy Dalton versus Andrew Luck is going to be fun to watch. The Bengals have a bit of an old secondary, though. I don't like that, though. They have Leon Hall. Obviously, Drake Kirkpatrick, let's see how he can do this year. He barely played last year. You have Terrence Newman there. Adam Jones. And I think that the Bengals are going to win this one. I think in the difference maker is better tight ends. They have a better duo. Kobe Fleener and Dwayne Allen versus Tyler Eifert and brain fart, Jermaine Gresham. I think that's a better tight end duo for the Bengals, and I think Colts will drop to 7-6, which is going to be tough. But here's when you got to get on a roll. This is when the better teams rise up. They're Week 15 home against the Texans. They split with the Texans last year. I think they're going to do it again, improve to 8-6. Stop Foster, stop Andre Johnson, make Matt Schaub beat you. Don't let his weapons around him beat you. Make him beat you. And I think that you're going to have to contain J.J. Watt, obviously. Maybe have Andrew Luck roll out. Throw against Jonathan Joseph versus Reggie Wayne. Get your other receivers going. Get T.Y. Hilton going, because the Colts, and obviously watch Ed Reed. But get him going. Get T.Y. Hilton going against that other get the other corners who aren't as good. Obviously, I think this secondary for the Texans is pretty good, but get the other guys going. T.Y. Hilton's, you need a speedy guy against these guys. Ed Reed is going to be lurking. Andrew Luck's got to limit his turnovers here. Be careful with the ball where you're putting it. Be a little more conservative. Get the run game involved, maybe some screen passes. I think they're going to win this game and improve to 8-6. Going into Week 16, away against the Kansas City Chiefs, another team that's going to be competing for that wild card spot. That team is ready to win now. Alex Smith at quarterback. Jamal Charles and Dwayne Bowe as your big-time weapons. Then on defense, Eric Berry, one of the best safeties in the league. Brandon Flowers. Sean Smith, the corner from the Dolphins, coming over to the Chiefs. Obviously, you have Tamba Ali and Derek Johnson, who are two really good guys. And Justin Houston, another underrated pass rusher, who supposedly is the 49th best player in the NFL. I don't think so. But I think the Colts are going to win this one. It's tough going to play in Arrowhead. It's honestly one of the most underrated places, the toughest places to play. I think they'll improve to 9-6 here. It's gonna be a close game, but I think the Colts know they gotta get on a roll in order to make the playoffs. So they go into 9-6, Week 17 against, the Jacksonville Jaguars. And I think they win and go to 10-6. Look, the Jaguars, I think at this point they're done. They'll probably have 3 wins in the season. The Colts take out Maurice Jones-Drew unless he's not even playing. Don't let them play spoiler to you. Just with that defense, Jonathan Cyprien, I think is going to be pretty good. Really use Reggie Wayne here. Get him going for the playoffs. Unless you clinch, then rest your guys, obviously. Get Andrew Luck going for the playoffs. You're going to have to get over the playoff hump this year. I think they'll be at 10-6. I think that's definitely a spot for the playoffs. We'll see how it all pans out in our playoff video after schedule rundowns. But that's definitely going to be enough, I think. And we'll see how far they go in the playoffs again during our video. So that's going to do it for today's schedule rundown. Indianapolis Colts. Hope you keep up with all of that as I was talking really fast. I know it's hard. It's tougher to do it by yourself. But predicting the schedules is interesting to see in late July. But hey, I think we're starting to get an idea of what these teams are based on rosters wise. And I think that it's going to be interesting to see. Obviously, the Colts are a very good team. That division is going to be tough, minus the Jacksonville Jaguars. So that's going to do it. Follow me at DB Sports Talk for all your NFL updates. Follow my partner in crime, Dave, at Dave Crest Sports. Check out my fantasy articles at GetRealFootball.com. Also, go to our YouTube page for all the schedule rundown and much more videos at YouTube.com/NFL Experts. We're bringing you a lot of new stuff. We do it for the fans because I know sometimes you just can't get enough football that you do more than just NFL.com. You go to different places, and I know you can't get enough. And so that's going to do it. Join me next time where I do the Tennessee Titans schedule rundown. Thanks so much, football fans. It's been real.